So getting into one of the first major differences in the number 5 spot, we have how many people and the size of the maps. So World of Tanks Blitz is a 7 versus 7, which is actually quite a bit, and it can be hard to read a lineup if you're an inexperienced player in World of Tanks Blitz. However, you have not met World of Tanks PC because it is more than doubled at 15 versus 15 players. So that's 30 people compared to 14 people World of Tanks Blitz has. And the reason, of course, that it can be supported is because the maps are also about 5 to 4 times larger than your average World of Tanks Blitz map. So the maps are way larger, and so are the graphics. Graphics on PC, of course, because you actually can run the game only on PC, are really, really shabby. So there's a lot of things that have to do with graphics, size, and player base in World of Tanks PC that is very different than World of Tanks Blitz. So that is why it's making the number 5 position. Jumping into number 4, we have the shell reloading mechanism. So you'll notice in this replay here, I have an AP shell loaded in my IS-4, and there's a side-scraping Super Conqueror, and I want to shoot this guy, but of course you can't penetrate somebody that is full-on side-scraping. So I figured, you know what, I'm going to load a high-explosive shell and just shoot it at the side of him. But the difference is that in World of Tanks PC, if you want to load any other shell than the main one you have, well, you have to reload your entire shell once again. It's not like Blitz where, hey, you see a mouse, you just load premium. No, you can't do that. If you're in a 183, you'd have to wait 18 seconds to change your entire shell to a hash. So very, very different in the concept of loading ammunition. A very simple change, but makes it detrimental to certain positions. Hitting the number 3 spot, it is the way you look at armor profiles in Blitz compared to PC. You'll notice here that this VK100 pulled over the ridge, and if I pause the replay real quick, this VK100 is completely red, and that shows you where the weak spots are, and of course I shot right at the turret where the easy penetration was. So that's one thing that World of Tanks PC does not have, is showing you weak spots on tanks. You really have to know your knowledge. You'll see here that now if I pull up a replay, that same replay in my IS-4, this E100 is going to pull out side on, and there is no way for me to know where to shoot him, if I should have shot him in the turret, the track. So that's one thing, again, that World of Tanks PC doesn't do. Even a beginner does not get the ability to see weak spots on enemy tanks, something that's very, very different compared to World of Tanks Blitz. And I actually wish that they did remove the red spots on tanks in Blitz, because I honestly feel that it kind of negates the purpose of having armor. If you're in a mouse and you're side scraping, if you just load premium, it shows you where to penetrate the opponent, and all you have to do then is just easily aim your shell into the cheeks or the lower plate, where on World of Tanks PC, you don't know if you have enough penetration to go through that cheek or the lower plate. So you have to know when to shoot and when to back up. So I think it's actually a lot better for tanks that have armor on PC, but that's just my personal opinion. In the number 2 spot, we have something that I don't think World of Tanks Blitz will ever have to worry about coming into the game, which is artillery. I cannot tell you how many games I get frustrated or I just start yelling at my computer when I get slammed by an artillery in World of Tanks PC for 500, 600 damage in some of my lighter vehicles. Artilleries are really a nuisance in PC, and I do wish that they didn't exist, but they do in the game, and it's a different entire playstyle. So artillery, if you don't know what it is, pretty much stay at the back of the map. They're kind of like tank destroyers, but they can hit you wherever you are. They lob a shell up, and gravity brings it back down onto the roof of your tank, dealing a lot of damage, sort of like a KV-2 shooting a shell up in the sky, and then it falling on the roof of your tank. So artillery, it's a very fun playstyle. I'm not a huge fan of it just because I think it kind of negates the purpose of, fighting in the front lines like tanks. However, artillery does exist in World of Tanks PC, and it's one thing that Blitz is not able to support, not only because I think that the maps are too small, but just because I think artillery are such a controversial thing, and I don't think a lot of Blitz players would really like it in the first place. So I'm going to bring up a couple honorable mentions because, of course, there are still a lot of differences that I really could talk about. So just a couple of them. First of all is equipment. The equipment in World of Tanks PC is sort of like what the old Blitz equipment was, where you have your reload one, where you can have a 10% faster reload, 10% faster track repair, where now World of Tanks Blitz you can have more penetration, a lot more aiming time, better dispersion. You really can't have that in World of Tanks PC. That's a new concept that Blitz does have. As well, when you get tracked in World of Tanks PC, it's not just like, oh, I get repair it immediately. It doesn't really work like that. In World of Tanks PC, if you are tracked, let's say, in my IS-4, it could be for 20 seconds if you don't have a maxed out crew. And not to mention, sometimes you don't have a skill called Sixth Sense. A lot of people don't even know what that is on World of Tanks Blitz because every tank automatically has it. What the skill is that little light bulb that pops up that shows you that you're detected. Well, you don't get that in PC unless you get it researched in your crew, which means you have to play your tank, and if you're a free-to-play player, or you're like me and don't really care that much about the game, you just want to play to have fun, well, I didn't realize that you didn't get that skill until you actually researched it. So you have to constantly play your tanks. My IS4 had to play about 50 games in before it let me get that skill on one of my commanders. Then you're able to know, hey, look, I'm detected. So if you got spotted by a tank destroyer or a light tank across the map spotted you, you wouldn't even know. So a couple other honorable mentions. Well, we have wheeled vehicles. I don't think those will ever come into Blitz. They are the EBR, the Panhards. Those things go like 100 kilometers per hour, run around the map. That's pretty fun. Double-barreled heavy tanks. I don't think that will ever come into Blitz either. There's a lot of things that World of Tanks PC have that I don't think Blitz will ever have, like the Swedish tank destroyers, hydro-pneumatic suspension. It's a lot of cool things that I wish Blitz could do, but I just don't think they have the abilities and resources to do it currently with the game. That's why they said, of course, they're going to bring out the Kronwagen, but no Stritzwagen. So getting into the final position, number 1, we have Tier 10 premium vehicles. In World of Tanks P, there is no such thing as Tier 10 premiums. There are clan reward tanks, and you can get vehicles with bonds at Tier 10. So the M60, the FV2 and 5B, and I think the 121B you can get with bonds. But it's not the same sense where Wargaming's just selling them outright to the public with gold and being able to get them. To get bonds in World of Tanks PC, you have to earn them by playing the game, by doing rewards, by doing frontline, which is a bunch of different tough stuff, and it's 15,000. Now, I've been playing the game for about 5 years, and I don't play it that much, but I only have about 3,000 bonds, which is enough to get me a Tier 5 premium. So yeah, to get 15,000 for a Tier 10 vehicle, it takes a lot of playing and a lot of skill, something that World of Tanks Blitz doesn't really have anymore. You can literally buy yourself a Tier 10 vehicle pretty much any time of the day. There's always a Tier 10 vehicle in the store nowadays. There's the AMX-30B, last week it was the Super Conqueror, before that it was the Badger, and then the Mark 6. So I don't like that World of Tanks Blitz is just a pay-to-win world where, not necessarily pay-to-win, but pay-to-play, where you can literally just buy your way straight to Tier 10, where you can't do that in World of Tanks PC. Yeah, you can buy your way in the Tier 8, but it's a little different because Tier 10 is still sort of like a sanctuary. Anybody that has a Tier 10 clan reward vehicle, you can pretty much expect is going to be at least a pretty good player if they've earned the bonds. So that's something that really isn't very fun in Blitz. It's just the fact that if you have a whole team of premiums, they could be great players that, you know, just bought them for fun, or they could be completely awful players that have 50 battles, because I have seen quite a few players over the time playing Blitz in the Mark 6 and the Badger that do 0 damage. You look at their stats, they got 200 games, and 150 of them were in the Badger. So it's something that I really don't like. So I hope you guys did enjoy this little list here. If you did, please make sure to click that subscribe button down below. I wanted to list and have a little fun video today. So yeah, we just broke 20,000 subscribers. We actually, that giveaway, thank you guys for all the support, but we're already at 20,300, almost 400 now. So thank you for all the support. Can't really thank you guys enough. Make sure to slap that subscribe button down below if you did learn something new, or you want to see a part 2 to this video, maybe have me compare World of Tanks to War Thunder. Let me know in the comments down below. But other than that, I hope you're all doing well out there. Stay happy, stay healthy, and I'll see you in the next one.